Hey everybody, this is Josh with Rubi The Rubicon, and today that is going to go on there.
Please like, subscribe and share this video.
Hey everybody, Josh with Rubi The Rubicon. Today we're going to do a install video. I've been waiting on this awning to arrive for a little while now. I did a fair bit of research, like I usually do, before I decide to put anything on the truck. And this is the awning that I chose. Now, it is a 270 awning. It is a CAOS Nomad Bub Awning. Now, the Bub Awning is actually designed for short wheelbase Jeeps or Suzuki Jimneys. And it's designed to mount above the doors, above the roof, on those Jeeps. Now, when I started looking at an awning for Rubi, one of the biggest problems I ran into was awning length. I didn't want an awning that was going to protrude into this section of the truck. I'm trying to keep the height on Rubi as in check as I can. I don't want Rubi to be any taller than it has to be. The solar panel's mounted nice and tight into the roof of the canopy. I don't have anything protruding over the roof. The antennas on the front of the car, which are out of shot, are about 25 mil higher than what's at the rear of the vehicle, so that I know if I can get the antennas underneath something, the rest of the truck will follow, not a problem. And that won't change, whether I lift it, whether I put bigger tires on it, etc. If the antenna's clear, I'll be able to get the truck in. So I didn't want to go with a standard sort of 8-foot long awning because it was going to, in order to fit it to the truck and not lose it, not sacrifice, the height, not end up being too tall, I would have had to mount it so low that it would have blocked this rear door. And that just wasn't an option. So I needed an awning that was short enough to fit just along the canopy down there. So I'll take you through a quick shot of what they include in the packet, and then we'll get some hardware out. We're going to mount it direct to the rails using the supplied L brackets on the canopy. We are going to have to drill a few holes and seal a few things up. We'll get it on, we'll pull it out, and we'll have a look, see how it goes. Please, if you're enjoying this content, do like, subscribe and share with your friends. We're looking to get all the support for the channel that we can. We're always trying to increase our subscribers. We just recently passed 100. Get to 200 would be really awesome. If you could please smash that like button, hit subscribe, share with your friends, that would be awesome. Cheers, back to the video.
So the included hardware has a bag of pegs and guy lines, and the pegs are actually pretty decent. Some L brackets, some hardware bolts, and these are some additional bolts that I bought that turned out to be the wrong ones.
So the way we're going to mount this, and this is now sitting upside down, we're going to use the included 2 L brackets, and then we're going to go one into the top rail of the roof, and then we're going to run a long bolt through one of the back holes and use a whole stack of washers until I know exactly how big it needs to be. Then I can get a custom spacer machined. But for today, we'll then run a whole stack of washers down. We'll drill a hole through one of the roof supports and canopy, bolt it on, and it should be fairly straightforward. Now, I did have to pick up some longer bolts for this because I'm going through the canopy and it's going to sit up quite a ways from the rail on the canopy. I needed to get some longer bolts, and because I am tucking it in quite tight to the canopy, the included bolts for this slot here, these ones, are just a little bit too long, and the backs of them were going to foul. So I've bought myself some slightly shorter bolts. We'll use these bolts. The factory supplied ones come with nylock nuts, so we'll use those nuts with those, and hopefully we should get a winner. So we'll get the brackets inserted into the rails. We'll get them tightened up loose enough that I can still slide them along to figure out the exact position. Then we'll put some bolts in, drill some holes, and get it mounted up. Alright, that's the brackets mounted up. Let's go grab the ladder, lift it up, see how where we're going to have to drill some holes. So what's the plan? The plan here is to grab the awning, lift it up, find a spot along this rail where I can temporarily mount one of the bolts in just to hold it up there, and then I'll be able to slide the second bracket to wherever its final position is going to be, so that I can then drill the holes, mount that properly, and then unbolt the temporary mount at the other end, slide that one back and do the same thing. Let's see how it goes. So I'm inside the canopy, and you can see here there are these 20mm box ridge sections. Now up top I've put one bolt in the rail, and I'm hoping that where the slots in the rail are will line up with these, so I can drill a hole clean through one of these and put a long bolt through. Then we get a nice real solid attachment. Then I can do the same thing at the other end. We'll see if the hole matches up. I'll grab the tape measure, I'll measure it up, and we'll see whether or not where I've positioned it, I can drill a hole through it, it'll come through there. Hopefully, we've got the spacing up top okay, and I'd only need to drill one hole, but I may need to drill two. We'll see how we go. So this is really hard to do one-handed. With the dimension, it's about 180, 185. We'll see what it is up top. And would you look at that? From the seam to the bolt hole, 185. So we're right to go. We'll drill a hole down through that bolt hole, through the roof, which is going to come in just on this side of where it's solar panel mounted. We'll get that in, get this end secured, and then we'll worry about the other end. Nice and simple. Alright, so we'll tighten this bolt up, because that's in position. It's not going anywhere. And then we'll use the hole that's there as a drilling guide for the second hole.
Things didn't quite go according to plan here. I tightened up the bolt and then I drilled the hole, but it turns out I hadn't measured properly and I missed on one side. The video stopped recording after this due to a fault with my phone too. Batteries need to be charged, don't they? So I repositioned, re-drilled the hole, and missed on the other side. So I ended up coming back and re-drilling the other hole, and this is where I ended up. So my microphone had failed at this point, just showing that I had to replace one of my stainless bolts with a gal one that I had in the shed because it was too short, and you can see the big stack of washers there that's going to get replaced with a bushing. Ended up having to remove the bracket on the other end to make the gap fit, drill a hole in the rail, then drill a hole in the roof, stuck up my washers and tighten it all up. Ended up taking one washer out of the other end just to bring the bracket away from the canopy a little bit, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Unfortunately my audio had died at this point, so you get a voiceover. So I'm just tightening up the final bolts holding the bracket onto the rail of the awning, and when that was finished it's time to open it up and give it a test. So it's just a double zip, as is usually the case, two little Velcro straps, and then grab the corner and out she comes. Well, the awning's installed. That's a pretty neat thing. I can still get my side door open. It folds out nicely. There is a little wind around at the moment. If it was any windier than this, I'd probably peg it out, but it's a bit hard to do in the driveway. It's easy to unfold, easy to pack up. There is one thing that I might change, or two things I'll change once I get some time on the lathe, and I'll just flip this video around so I can show you.
first thing is the bolts at the back of the bracket. It's pretty hard to see. You can see there are quite close to the canopy. They're not quite touching, but they're very close. I will probably use that as a third bracing point. So I'll probably make a little spacer. I'll drill a hole through there, and I'll take it off. I'll drill a hole through, and I'll put a third spacer in there, and that'll be hard mounted. That'll stop it from, if it wants to flex down at all, like that. We'll stop it from doing that. Just hold it nice and secure. And obviously my stacks of washers will get replaced with a single spacer, and I'll trim that bracket off so that we've just got those two mounts. And then we'll have 3-point mounting on each bracket, and it'll be good.
And just like that, it's installed. Not too difficult as long as you drill the holes in the right place. It looks like it's going to be a pretty good thing. It fits exactly the way that I wanted it to. It sits at exactly the height I like it. I can still get into the canopy, and I think we're going to get a lot of use out of it.
Measure once, drills 3 times, right? This has been Josh with Rubi The Rubicon. Cheers.